And tonight's big story breakdown is on the summer heat. We saw another day of scorching temperatures. So let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Jack Griffin. Jack, any chance we could see some relief in the temps over the next few days?
In the next few days, Wendy, unfortunately not. As we go later on into August, I think there's a chance that we'll begin to cool down a little bit compared to normal, but that's going to be at least 2 weeks out. So we are looking at still some very hot and humid conditions that are expected for the next few days. Today was one of those days. You can see for our recorded highs on the Mesonet sites, we got to 94 in the metro, and we had a lot of spots that were in the upper 90s to the low 100s. We technically saw fewer 100s on the map, though, compared to yesterday, but still, we've got very humid conditions still in place for tonight, and that will then set the stage for another hot day for tomorrow. In fact, it probably will be a hotter and more humid day across not only Oklahoma City, but also for much of the state, too, as temperatures will be bumped up a couple degrees. We're looking at a high tomorrow of around 97, and that would also mean with the increase in temperature comes an increase in the heat index as well. So we could be looking at near 105 for most of the metro area, and I think a lot of the state's going to be in that 105 to 110 range tomorrow, which is why there's a much larger heat advisory that goes in place for tomorrow afternoon until the evening. There was a smaller one out there today for just the northeast corner of the state within green country. Tomorrow, though, as you can tell, much more of the state is included in that. And we get to a high of around 97 for tomorrow. We'll talk a few showers and storms in the forecast as well. And then as we go later on into our forecast, we're still expecting more opportunities for some hot temperatures as well. There are still some storms that we do have to kind of watch out for, as you can see in the northwest part of the state. That's the edge of the heat dome. And so we could be looking at a few of those storms making their way into our part of the state for tomorrow. And we'll talk about that coming up. But right now, everything is very, very isolated right now. And there's a better chance coming in for, like I said, the day tomorrow. So the heat dome is going to be building over the course of the next few days. It'll be centered right over us. So give it a few more days and it's going to be very sunny, very hot. And that chance of rain that we've been talking about will be basically non-existent starting up for Friday and the weekend. So we got a few more spotty storms for tomorrow. The heat dome builds over the area. Technically, Wendy, it's over us right now, but it's not exactly centered over us, and then give it a few days and it will be, and that will make for a very dry forecast going into the weekend.
So this is just a little taste, and I know we tell people to stay inside as much as you can when it's this hot, but is there a window that's just a no-go for you where you need to tell people, look, don't do it?
Well, if you work outside, obviously you don't have that choice, but I would say from about, and we can pull up our graphics, but from about 11 o'clock in the morning until about 6 in the evening, that's usually when we've got the hottest temperatures that'll be in place. That's also when there we go. That's also when our sun angle is the highest too. So it's best to do your outdoor activities outside of those hours. And also, for example, it's very inefficient to be watering your plants or running your sprinklers during that time because it's just wasting it. Yeah. And children and the elderly are most vulnerable. So, for example, my little son, he's 3 months old. We still got to get him some fresh air. We go out early in the morning before it gets a problem, and we're only out for just a little bit of some time.
Same with walking the puppy.
Exactly.
We're doing very early morning walks and waiting till it gets dark. So how long does a heat dome like this typically last?
It's usually about 2 weeks on average or so. It can last a week, or sometimes it can last longer than that, but usually about 2 weeks or so is about the average. And that's actually how, give or take, ours is going to end up being too this week.
Yeah, all right. Do we have a historical heat dome, the worst one we've ever had, that we don't want to beat? Not saying we want to make history. 2011
and 2012, those summers were really bad. But actually right now we're entering the hottest point of the year. We can pull up our graphics once again, and you can see that the average low temperature and the average high temperature are the highest right now, and that will continue through August 6th. So it technically started on July 17th, so it's a few days ago. And like I said, through August 6th, this is the hottest point of the year, where the average low is 71 and the average high is 94. That's as high as it goes. But yeah, in terms of heat domes that have been the worst in recent memory, yeah, that summer of 2011 and 2012, there are a lot of records that I post that are from those years.
Let's not see that again, please.
No.
Let's not have a repeat. Okay, let's move on with the heat. Still, EMSA sharing an update on their medical heat alert that has been in effect since July 9th. According to medics, since then they have responded to 27 suspected heat-related illness calls in the Oklahoma City metro area. This resulted in 18 patients taken to the hospital. They announced yesterday morning their medics in the Tulsa area responded to 21 heat-related illness calls since Friday. And with more high temps expected, like Jack told us, they want to make sure you're being careful.
I think since this season that we've issued this heat advisory alert, I think we're nearing 200, nearly 200 heat-related emergencies with over 100 transports to emergency rooms just in this division here in Tulsa alone.
EMSA says this alert will remain in effect until temperatures and the number of heat-related illness calls decrease. And with the summer heat in full swing, EMSA wants to remind you to take extra precautions. If you plan to be outside in the coming days, we've got your back with some key recommendations like drinking plenty of water throughout the day. And you are also encouraged to wear light-colored, loose-fitting clothing and a wide-brimmed hat if you're working outdoors. And be sure to take those shade breaks. Avoid alcohol and caffeine, and be sure to check on your loved ones and your elderly neighbors. There are various places throughout the metro offering residents a space to cool down for free and get some relief from the heat. Key to Home Partnership has compiled a list of stations and their hours of operations. You can visit Belle Isle Library from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. or the YMCA Healthy Living Center from 5:30 a.m. to 9. The Homeless Alliance Day Shelter is also open daily from 6:30 a.m. to 4. Well, with high temperatures in mind, it is important to take the necessary steps to ensure our pets are safe. According to the ASPCA, you should never leave your pets alone in a parked car. Don't leave them unsupervised around a pool. Trim your pet's long hair and make sure your pet has lots of fresh, clean water to drink all throughout the day. Oklahoma has a lot of corn crops, and this could make the high temperatures feel even hotter. It's something called evapotranspiration. It's when water evaporates from plants like corn or soybeans, combining with other water molecules in the air, making things outside feel even worse. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, 1 acre of corn gives off up to 4,000 gallons of water each day during growing season.
During the daytime hours, it's just emitting a lot of water vapor and it's adding moisture to the lower boundary layer in the atmosphere. That translates to us as a little bit higher humidity than we probably would otherwise have in this region. In English, that means that it can get very, very humid at the surface and it can make us miserable.
Well, experts say this is a typical process of healthy crops. Now being the peak time for it, likely dying down as the summer ends. Health officials sounding the alarm after a child died in South Carolina from a brain-eating amoeba, which thrive in warm and stagnant water. Megan Gagno from our sister station shares what every parent should look out for.
It's hard, right, to make a decision of taking your kid out of the water when it's such a big part, I think, of South Carolinian summers.
Dr. Anna Catherine Birch with Prisma Health confirming Tuesday that a person has died from a brain-eating amoeba found in fresh water in the Midlands.
Any body of lake, river, pond, hot springs that you could come into contact with in the state of South Carolina will have this amoeba in it. For most people who come in contact with this type of amoeba, it causes no harm whatsoever.
Losing a child is awful, but when you lose a kid this way, oh, it is horrible.
The Lewis family lost their child Kyle to the same infection almost 15 years ago after being on a family vacation in Lake Granbury, Texas. Kyle was just 7 years old and was about to start second grade.
If you listen to all of the professionals, it's rare. Well, it may be rare to you, but it's not for me. I got my kid, and I can tell you 37 other kids that have gotten it.
Within just 4 days, Kyle was pronounced brain dead from an infection caused by the amoeba Naegleria fowleri. The amoeba reaches the brain through the nose while swimming in fresh water that contains it.
The majority of the cases that have happened in the United States are fatal. Greater than 97% of cases that have occurred since the 60s have been fatal. It's not reportable in the state of South Carolina.
Kyle was a driving force, right? I don't want to see another kid die of this, but I also know the reality of it.
For the Lewis family, the Kyle Lewis Amoeba Awareness Foundation is a way to educate parents about the risk, inform them about prevention, and work with doctors and researchers towards a rapid diagnosis and cure.
He is my driving factor, 100%. The day after he died, we had already created a website.
That was Megan Gagno reporting. To reduce the risk, it's recommended that you hold your nose or wear a nose clip when jumping into water, avoid digging in shallow water, and use boiled water for any nasal cleansing. We are not in extreme heat just yet, but extreme weather is raising food costs worldwide. That's according to a new study. Research found a wide range of goods saw dramatic spikes in recent years due to extreme weather conditions. This new research examined short-term price spikes around the world as a result of extreme heat, drought, or heavy precipitation between 2022 and 2024. One example, prices for olive oil. That product saw a 50% price spike in Europe in January 2024 from the year earlier. And that was your big story breakdown tonight. You can stay up to date with the weather forecast on OKCFox.com and get that weather app. Plus, head over to our YouTube page to watch all of our previous big story breakdowns. Just scan the QR code on your screen or search OKC Fox.